My name is Mason, and this is your March 2024 Vail, Arizona real estate market update. In this video, I want to break it down into three pieces. The first piece is going to be a general overview of the market here in Vail. The second piece is going to pertain to sellers and some very important information that you're going to want to know. And then the third piece is going to pertain to buyers. Now, really, it's good to know all the sides because you're going to, of course, interact with all of these components when you're buying or selling a home. But again, I'll break it down further in the video as to what I would look at whether I was buying or whether I was selling. Now, getting into the general overview and the performance of Vail coming out of February and now into March, the median priced home was at $399,000. So let's just round up to 400. Now, this is up 0.4%. So again, we'll call it a 0.5% from last year. So Vail has seen an increase in the median price point. Now, when we look at the average, and there's a lot more things that affect the average as opposed to the median, the average home price is at $437,000. And this is up 4.2% from the same time last year till today. Now, with both the median and the average being in the low 400s, I will tell you this is the norm for Vail. Vail since 2021 has always hovered around 400,000 for price points. Now, at its peak months, which was last year, this was in May, the peak month hit 411,000 for median price point homes. Now, we saw an odd month in August where here in Vail, the homes got up to 415,000 for the median, but that is very rare for August, so I'll consider that an outlier. Again, we are at 400,000 for median price point. For February and March, for the first quarter of the year, this is very much on par with how Vail has performed. So there's really not been a lot of up and downs or volatility in the Vail market. It's pretty steady from what I can see. Now, one of the numbers that changed the most for February and for Vail was how many homes sold during the 29-day month of February. Now, if we look at the same time last year till this year in February, we are up 32%, and that makes for a total of 66 homes that sold during February. Now, naturally, we're seeing more homes sell because we are increasing our inventory. And Vail, actually, when compared to the rest of Tucson or Southern Arizona, actually has some of the highest levels of inventory. On that same note, we are at 3.8 months of inventory. Now, what that means is, and for those of you that don't know, when we look at months of inventory, when you hear months of inventory, it means if homes stop selling today, how long would it take us to get to 0 homes on market? So right now it's 3.8 months. Previously, when we were at 5 to 6 months, that would mean it was a balanced market. Anything under 6 months would lend itself to sellers, and anything over 6 months would lend itself to buyers because there's more options and not as much demand. So really it boils down to supply and demand. Vail has seen a steady increase in supply, but home prices have held steady and rates have also helped keep the waters calm. So you don't really feel it one way or another when it comes to buying or selling. But again, 3.8 months of inventory as of today means that we do have more homes available than about the rest of Tucson. Now, this one I think is important because it allows us to not only compare this market, and for those of you that are coming from a different market, whether it's a country or a state, this is the price per square foot. So the price per square foot here in Vail was $201. Again, that was for strictly the month of February. When I compare that to other zip codes or other areas in town, I would say Vail is pretty reasonable if you're looking at it at a price per square foot measure. The price per square foot is up 2.2% from the same time last year. So again, naturally, when home prices go up, we're seeing the price per square foot go up as well. Not a huge jump, but 2.2% is a decent gain for our area. Now, this next number and this next metric is very important for anyone considering selling or buying or just browsing the market. And this is days on market until you get an offer accepted on your home. The median days on market for homes here in 85641 in the greater Vail area is 63 days, so just a hair over 2 months. And the average days on market for Vail is 92 days, so 3 months on the high end. Again, this is very important because if you're trying to plan a move, whether you're buying or selling, you need to backwards plan with your agent to determine what your timeline is, when you should list, or when you should buy, and set realistic expectations. This is probably one of the most important metrics that I track and that I look at and that I share with families that I work with because, again, it's all about timing. And although we don't control the market, we can't predict the market, these numbers, the days on market, gives us a good idea and allows us to paint a decent picture for a family so they can plan their next move or their next steps when it comes to moving on. Now let's get into the selling side. If you are considering selling your home, there's some important things that you need to know. And one of the most important pieces are the competitive markets and the price points at which competition lies here in Vail. Now, by the numbers for February, the most popular and most transacted price point is going to be your $300,000 to $400,000 homes. These are usually first-time home buyers or someone stepping up from a first home to a second home, and 31 homes sold. So this accounts for almost half of all homes sold in Vail during the month of February. So again, $300,000 to $400,000 homes. That is the most competitive price point here in Vail. The next most competitive price point is almost half of what that was, and it is $400,000 to $500,000. And for February, 18 homes sold during that time. And lastly, the third most competitive price point and category for Vail is going to be $500,000 to $600,000. This came in at 10 total sales for the month of February, so it makes up about a sixth of all of home sales during February. I know I said days on market was probably one of the most important metrics, but I also think that one is as well. If you have a home and it's in one of those price points, the top three, anywhere from $300,000 to $700,000, and your home isn't moving or your home is struggling, or you want to position it to do well, I think you have to pay attention at what price point you're in. And again, this helps set realistic expectations and just expectations in general for what selling or buying might look like. If you're on the seller side and you have a $350,000 house and it's priced right and it's in good condition, you're probably going to get an offer sooner than most other people. Now, if you're a buyer, and I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, if you're shopping the $800,000 to $900,000 price point, you know that it's not very competitive at all, so you're not going up against a lot of competition. On the flip side, and getting back to the number one price point, $300,000 to $400,000, if you're a buyer, you can probably expect some competition, maybe some competing offers, and you might have to get creative with your offer like we've done in previous years in order to make sure that you're at the front of the line and you have the strongest offer on the home that you want. Circling back to sellers, and another piece that's going to be important for you is the percent of list price received. Basically, how much money do you get compared to what you've listed it for? So, for example, if you have a house listed at $400,000 and currently in Vail, sellers are getting on average negative 1.75% of their list price. So you're getting under asking on your final sales price. Just a quick example, if you're selling a home at $400,000 and someone comes in with an offer and it is at less than what you wanted, on average 1.75%, that will be $7,000 less off of your $400,000 asking price. So whatever your sale is at, you can do a little bit of math and just expect you might get a little bit less than what you're expecting or what you're listed for. Now, of course, this varies, and this is a very small number to take a hit on. Last year, I think sellers were making 99% of list price, so it hasn't varied much. You're pretty much going to walk away with what you're asking for. But again, no matter what type of market we're in, it's really important that you price your home correctly, because once we get into the higher price point homes, the amount of list price that sellers receive drops a ton. Now, there's some other factors that go into that, but again, pricing and strategy is always very important. I saved the best for last when it comes to the sellers, and this is very pertinent to the time of season we're stepping into. Now, historically and throughout the year, Tucson always sees its peak months in May, June, and July, and specifically May and June. So if you're a seller and you maybe struggle through the winter, or you've been making some decisions or kind of sitting on your hands waiting for a good time to sell, I will tell you the peak season, and by the numbers for when sellers are most likely to make the most money on their home, is going to be May through July, and it trickles into August. But really, May and June are going to be your sweet spots if you're a seller. Regardless of what month we're in though, if you're a seller, and because we have higher inventory here in Vail, one of the most important questions that I can give to you, and something for you to think about and do some homework on with your agent, or just something you're going to put together, is what are you doing to entice the buyer to pick your home out of all the other homes here in Vail? It starts with the media, the photos. I've seen some beautiful homes, even as of this morning, go up for sale here in Vail, over $500,000, and the photos are terrible. Everybody lives on their phone and their computer, and you as the seller, you as the homeowner, are in charge of your listing. Your real estate agent is really an advisor. But what you can't do is miss the opportunity to capture a buyer's attention, because when they swipe on the photos on their phone and they're just not that great, you've already lost that buyer's attention. They have no idea what your home has to offer because someone took photos of your home with a 5-year-old cell phone. It is too easy, and it should be the industry standard to hire a great videographer and a photographer to highlight your home, especially when you're up from $500,000 to $1 million. Again, there's no price point that's immune to bad photos because I've seen them all. I can't emphasize this enough. Sellers, you need to entice buyers to come to your home and to write an offer, because in an inventory saturated market, you have to stand out from the crowd. And I don't think there's enough effort put on that to bring more eyes and more attention to your homes. Lastly, getting into the buyers, those of you on the house hunting mission right now, I want to tell you, take your time. Make sure you are being thorough. With the amount of homes we have in the inventory, you have the ability to take your time and knock out a few homes every week, every so often, and really be happy with your choice. The last thing you want is buyer's regret. So when I told you the numbers that it's about 2 to 3 months for homes to sell, just know you don't have to be rushed when it comes to finding a home and making sure you guys are happy with it. Now, I say that with the understanding of, if you're in certain price points where there's more competition, then maybe you do have to act a little quicker. But right now, make sure you're looking at all the important pieces. Make sure you're looking at the roof, the air conditioner, the water heater. Those are all big ticket items that in this market, because things are moving slowly and homes are taking a little bit longer to sell, you can probably negotiate an air conditioning unit, a roof, a water softener, a water tank. There's a lot of things that you as the buyer have leverage on because homes are sitting for a little bit longer. One of the biggest takeaways that I can give you is, if you're a buyer, and this pertains to the entire market here in Arizona, not just Vail, is be aggressive. And the best way you can do that is by having an agent that understands both the selling and the buying side, because then I personally know how to leverage the home based off what is important to the seller. Or before we even get to inspections, we can look at what we can identify as maybe a problem and save everyone time and money if we identify that early. I don't really have a ton of metrics and numbers for you on the buyer side, but the overall message I want to give you guys if you're shopping, and this is specific to Vail, is don't be afraid to take your time. We have a lot of inventory. We have a lot of homes on the market right now. So make sure you're being thorough. Make sure you're going through the homes with a fine-tooth comb, but be prepared for these next coming months because we are stepping into the busy season. If you've been a little bit disappointed in what there is out there to select from and the quality of homes, then hopefully we should see some more inventory hit the market within these next few months. And circling back again to the sellers, if we're stepping into peak season, now is the time to start prepping your home to make sure that it is show ready and ready to hit the market. If you've made it this far, I really do appreciate it. My name is Mason Martinez. I'm a realtor here in Vail and Tucson, and I love what it is I do. I wanted to ask you guys if there's anything you wanted me to concentrate on or maybe touch on, whether you're buying or selling or just curious about the market in general. Please feel free to let me know. Send me a message or leave a comment, and I'd be happy to give you guys some more information in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next month for your Vail real estate market update.